Hi everybody, welcome to Brailsford Family Homestead. I'm Darcy. Today we're going to make dinner together. I need something that's fairly quick and easy, and my husband requested beef and noodles, but guess what? I have no noodles that are appropriate for that, so we're going to go ahead and make egg noodles together. What better way to see if it works than on camera, right? I know I'm late to the party of making homemade noodles, but if I can do this on the fly in front of the camera, so can you. So let's get started. It is a scorcher out there, so there's not going to be any filming outside for me. Whew. Probably scorcher where you're at too. So although this will be a hot meal, it's not going to require a lot of time of like the oven or the stove being on and heating up the kitchen even more. So that is fabulous. Let me gather all of my things and we'll get started. If you don't already have leftover beef, you will need to make some, but this is best and easiest, especially on a hot day, if you have leftover pot roast like I do. And I also have broth from making the pot roast, so I will be using some of this to make a gravy. I will remove that fat cap and put it in the freezer and deal with it later. I do render down that as tallow whenever I make bone broth. I'll put a video on how to do that right here. And then here is my leftover pot roast, and then we'll make the noodles, and that's all we need. So this is just a really simple beef and noodles. I know it will taste good. We'll just have to see how well my noodles turn out, how thin I can roll them out. I am not professing to be really great at rolling out really thin, and I'm not using a pasta machine or anything. We're just doing this quick and easy. It might end up more like dumplings. I guess we'll see. I do have some water on the stove, not turned on yet because hot. It's a scorcher out there that will be heavily salted for cooking this pasta. So this recipe is called Easy Egg Noodles. So let's see if it is. We need 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, a pinch of salt, 2 large beaten eggs, a half a cup of milk, and a tablespoon of butter. I have always thought the egg noodles would require a lot more eggs. So I have an abundance of eggs. 2 eggs is definitely not going to be a problem for me. Let's get this all put together. I already have my 2.5 cups of flour there. We're going to put in a pinch of salt and mix that together. Oh, I don't have butter. I will have to grab that here in just a minute, but let's do the other things first. We need 2 beaten eggs. These are chicken eggs, but I also have turkey eggs and duck eggs and guinea eggs, and I often use them interchangeably in things like this. This is my favorite whisk. It's called a French whisk. If you don't have one, get just one. Those are awesome. Okay, we're gonna put everything into the bowl. Get all that egg out. Let me get some butter and I'll bring you right back. Okay, I needed a tablespoon of butter. I guess if I was thinking, I could have mixed this in my mixer, but now that I've already dirtied this bowl, I guess we're kneading it by hand, guys. It says to knead this until smooth, about 5 minutes. So, see you in 5 minutes. I put a little bit of flour down just to get it all off my hands because it is pretty sticky. We have a ball now, And we're going to put this in our bowl and cover it for 10 minutes. While that dough ball is resting, I'm going to go ahead and start getting my gravy stuff prepared so this can all come together quickly. When I make gravy, I heat up the stock and then I add some milk with flour in it. So you could use whatever method you like for thickening. You could use probably cornstarch or arrowroot powder or whatever, but I usually use a mason jar. There's some milk in here and I use a blender ball and then I add my flour. And if you are going to do this, then I recommend adding the milk to your jar first and then the flour, because it doesn't get stuck in the bottom. And I probably use about a 1/4 cup when I use a pint jar like this, but it all just depends on how thick that you want it. So then you just shake, 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 shake. Now I probably won't need a lot of seasoning in mine because I used bone broth in my roast and then seasoned the roast heavily and everything. So that broth is really flavorful. So you may need to season yours more depending on what you're doing. Lots of thyme and rosemary is always good when it comes to beef. I'm gonna pop this fat cap out of here. Try not to make a huge mess. So that has a lot of the things from the roast in that. So not necessarily something you'd want to use to cook with. This definitely would not be anything for body products, even once clarified. It will really smell beefy. So we're gonna get this heated up in a saucepan. I'm gonna go ahead and put this whole container in there. It's not quite a quart. Look how jiggly, gelatinous this is. It's going to be good for us too. Okay, the dough has rested and now we get to roll it out and cut it into shapes. It's supposed to be about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch on a floured surface. So we'll see how well I do here. It will be good. It'll taste good anyway, even if it's not thin. We'll see. I'll try, guys. I am going to use a pizza cutter to just cut it out. You can cut it into any shapes. So let's get this going. Do you guys have any favorite pasta recipes or maybe tricks and tips for rolling out noodles, egg noodles by hand? Well, this dough is not stiff. I think we're gonna be able to get this. So story time. One time years ago when I first started getting into Whole Foods, not the store, the foods, I tried making, I wanna say it was some type of squash pasta with like sage sauce. I was so excited to make this for my husband and it was a disaster. And it was so thick and hard, I could not get it rolled out. And I can't even remember what we ended up doing for dinner that night. But it has made me kind of a little bit leery of doing pasta. I think it was supposed to be ravioli, but you had to roll it out real thin and oh, it was so thick. So if my technique here is lacking, I apologize, but like I said, this isn't something I do. Woo! Well, okay, I rolled that so good. You guys fell into the sink, thankfully not inside the water. My goodness. All right, I think this is probably almost thin enough. Look at that. That feels nice. Feels thin. I would say that, whoops, let's not do that. All right, let's leave it at that. And then I will just kind of eyeball it, because this is supposed to be easy, right? I don't want to do it too thick, but also not too thin. When I have egg noodles, I have, you guys can't see me, can you? Okay, hold on. I'll do it in the middle. When I usually get egg noodles, I do get the broad ones. We'll see. I will cut this the other direction as well and turn my water on. This does have to rest for a few minutes. I'll tell you how long here in just a minute. I know my lines are rustic. I do know how to cut, believe it or not. I sew. I used to always sew my own clothes. I had a sewing business for a season. I was even a hairdresser once upon a time. They don't call them hairdressers anymore either, do they? Stylist. Okay. I think that's going to be good. How long does it have to rest? It says air dry for 10 or 15 minutes, so I'm going to gather it up and let it dry while my water is heating up, and we'll get the gravy finished. Oh, that one's really overshot. We're going to give up our milk and flour another good shake. And try not to put the blender ball in there. We'll let this come back up to a boil and see how thick it is and test it for salt and pepper. I also kind of broke apart some of the roast just so it wasn't big chunks, and I filled this. I don't know if we'll use all that, but that's what I have ready. This will come together quickly. Okay, I just turned the heat down from that. I think I like the thickness of that with those noodles. Let's give it a taste. That's gonna be hot. That's tasty. Maybe just a little pinch of salt or so that's gonna be to taste. And again, it depends on how your stock, broth, whatever you're using was seasoned. I'm going to put a lid on this, keep it kind of warm, and set it to the side. It's almost time to cook the pasta. My water is at a rolling boil, so we're going to go ahead and make sure it's salted heavily. And add the noodles. It says till al dente. I said that wrong, whatever. Set approximately 5 minutes, so we'll test it then. Woo! Don't burn yourself dropping them in there. I will say that I think that maybe I should have rolled them out a little bit thinner. I know they'll still be good, but some of it did look really, really thin. We'll see. All right, I'll be back in 5 minutes. All right, let's give one a try and try not to burn myself. That's good. Let's get them drained. That was really tasty, and that didn't have anything on it. I will definitely make those again. That would be delicious with just some butter, maybe some herbs or something on it. I will experiment. Maybe if I cut the dough amount in half while I was rolling, I could roll it out even thinner across. You know, I was obviously trying to keep it in frame, but I'm really happy with that. That's good. I think I'm just going to use all of this meat. I do have more, but I don't think this will be too much. My husband never complains if there's too much meat in something like this. Does yours? So let's put the noodles in there. And we'll see how much gravy we need here. All right, I didn't quite use all of that. Let me show you. I reserved a little bit. Can you see? Let me put you down. Because like if we have leftovers, it might get kind of need some more. So we'll add that. Or if somebody wants to add some more, here is our noodles. That looks really good. Let's plate it up and taste it. That looks yummy. We'll put some in a plate here. We'll taste this together. Ooh, I'm sure making a mess. That looks delicious. All right, let's give this a taste test. Based on the taste of just the noodles, I think it'll be delicious. And my oldest will love this, and so will my husband. That's tasty. Now that is not like the egg noodles I bought in the store, like the no yolk and different ones like that. Part of it could be that it could have been rolled out a lot thinner, but it's still delicious. It's thicker. It's a little bit firmer because it was so much thicker, but I really like that. I'm going to experiment with more. That is a keeper, and that was super easy. It didn't take a long time. It didn't have to sit for long, didn't have to cook for long. I didn't have to dirty a bunch of dishes, and it used up the leftovers. So winner, winner. Hope you guys give this one a try. I will put the link in the description to where I found that recipe if you want to give it a try. Till next time. God bless.